All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at how we're all spending our money when it comes to shopping at the moment. Have you changed your shopping habits at all? Well, there's some new research that's come out that has shown that consumers are buying less. Let's be honest, we're not that surprised about this. Money is going down while prices are going up. And when they do go shopping, they try to buy everything they need from one store. UNISA's Bureau of Market Research study has found, of course, this is having a negative impact on the industry. Professor Carel van Aardt is the research director joining us now. Good morning to you, Prof, joining us as the research director at BMR. So how much less money are we spending? We keep getting told we should be responsible and not overspend. Now we're being forced to cut back, aren't we?
Yes, what is very interesting in this regard is it's not just that we're spending less money. And when you look, for example, in percentage terms, you would note that due to COVID and the lockdowns, as well as the low economic growth, about 2 million jobs were lost, of which about 600,000 was basically recovered. So that means that 1.4 million people less have got incomes that they derive from wages, so they have less to spend. And when you purely look in percentage terms, you're looking at about 6-7% less that people have got available as an average to spend compared to what they would have had if those jobs were not lost. The interesting thing is that the way that people are responding is that they're cutting down on luxuries. And they're still buying the necessities, but we're seeing at the moment that even buying the necessities is coming under extreme pressure because of people's incomes simply not keeping up to the expenditures.
But I see there is at least one sector, one part of the retail industry that's doing at least better. Prof, help me understand this. Is the general dealers, from what I understand, a general dealer is defined as a one-stop shop, essentially. It's where most customers are going now. They can buy everything under one roof. I'm seeing an increase in their numbers. Why is that?
Correct, because what is happening at the moment is that your general dealers are typically your large supermarkets, all the way down to your spaza shops. And these are shops that don't specialize in a specific product, like, for example, just tires or just liquor, etc., but that have got a broad range of products. And when you have a look at what they're typically selling, that include basic necessities such as, for example, food, cleaning materials, basic beverages, etc. And so, as I've indicated, that a lot of people are cutting the expenditure on luxuries. So that would then mean, for example, that the money that they do have, that they spend generally at these general dealers to obtain the basic necessities. And what has happened now at a lot of this is, as we can see from the inflation figures, is that a lot of their products, like, for example, vegetables, meat, basic foodstuffs, have grown dramatically in price terms during the past 6 months.
What I find so interesting as well is while you and I, Prof, talk about luxury items, gone are the days, and tell me if you agree or not, Prof, if I'm reading the numbers correctly, things like clothing and footwear. They've also seen a decline of about 4% as well. Are those now considered luxury goods? Before, clothes and shoes were a necessity. Now it's become a luxury, hasn't it?
To some extent, but what is happening at the moment is that a lot of consumers still need clothing and footwear. And firstly, as you've indicated, they are buying less of that, but they're buying down, which means that instead of going for the expensive brands, we're picking up at the moment that those clothing and footwear stores that are basically selling in the so-called volume market, meaning, for example, that they've got fairly low prices compared to the high brand stores, that they are doing fairly well. And so people are therefore changing their buying behavior in order still to be affording the things that they require. A very interesting thing in this regard is that we've seen, for example, that when people then buy from the more volume market stores their clothing and footwear, they're not buying luxury items, but they are basically going for the necessary items that they need with respect to their clothing.
And Prof, just the last question to you before I say goodbye. It's almost a double question, if you could answer for me. One, I imagine then that we are going to see a knock-on effect on the industries. So the retail stores, apart from these general dealers, they're taking a bit of a hit. Are we seeing any indication, Prof, that we're going to see more competitive pricing between stores, trying to get the little bit of money that consumers have away from them? Is it becoming a more competitive market, do you think, before I say goodbye?
Absolutely. What is fascinating in this regard is that a lot of retailers have already responded to the fact that people have got less in their wallet to spend. And typically what we're seeing at the moment is that a lot of your larger retailers, especially your general dealers, are offering continuous discounts, continuous special offers. And also another innovation in this regard is that some of them have got a loyalty card from which you can, of course, do part payments from your loyalty points. But more important, that if you use your loyalty card, for example, that you can get then substantial discounts. Just a final one in this regard is that we're also seeing at the moment from the responses that we got, that consumers indicated that they are waiting before they buy more expensive items, and they're basically waiting for special offers.
I can't help but wonder if it's actually forcing us to be more responsible spenders as well. Professor Carel van Aardt, I really appreciate your time in speaking to us this morning. He is the Research Director at UNISA's Bureau of Market Research. All right, let's head over to what's been a cracking weekend of sports, especially as far as the Commonwealth Games are concerned. Here's Morena Mutupi with all.